Ego Kaiser, the crowned new Gen 11 striker, is currently going through what many refer to as a slump, and with this decline in his value as a player, one lone striker has risen from the depths of the Blue Lock project to challenge him for the throne of Bastard Munchen, that striker being none other than Yoichi Isagi. Now, to skip the fancy introduction, at this point I think it's reasonable to ask, who's better, Michael Kaiser or Yoichi Isagi? Now, this topic was brought up in my recent live stream where me and two other Blue Lock content creators reviewed the Blue Lock community's hot takes. So I decided to take that video, condense it down into a nice edited video for you guys to enjoy. Big shout out to both Hiryo and RavinGeeks for joining me on that live stream, and if you aren't currently following either of them on social media, go check them out. They make some amazing content. I'm going to leave both of their channels linked in the description below, as well as a link to the original live stream, so if you want to watch our entire uncut debate, you can go there and watch it for yourself. Now, there are two things I need to address before I begin this video. The first being that this stream occurred before the release of the leaks for chapter 254 of the manga. So our debate only consisted of information prior to the release of chapter 254. What we're saying right now may not be true in the most recent chapters, but again, we didn't know that because the chapters haven't come out yet. So just please keep that in mind. And like always, spoilers for up to chapter 253 of the Blue Lock manga, and if you aren't caught up to that point in the story, I would suggest clicking off this video right now because there are going to be spoilers. And without further ado, let's get into the debate of who is better, Michael Kaiser or Yoichi Isagi. So, current Kaiser over current Isagi. Who wants to take this one?
Current Kaiser over current Isagi. I feel like no matter what, everyone's gonna have their own different opinions. Like, this is kind of the one where everyone will have their pitchforks and torches out. That is one of the hardest, like, debates in my opinion.
Huh? This is a hard one?
In my opinion, I think this is a pretty hard one. You know.
Absolutely not.
No. You gotta hear me out here. You gotta hear me out. Maybe I'll go on a rant right here.
So much better.
Nah, bro. Wait. I was actually gonna say Isagi, like, greater than equal to Kaiser. All right, here we go. Here's the thing, right? Isagi. All right, we're gonna wait for the NEL to end, and then Isagi's gonna take the number one. I'm not even joking. I'm not joking. It really comes down as an all-round player what you do, right? Like your impact on the game. Kaiser and Isagi both have like magnificent impact on the game. I'm not saying Isagi is better, is not saying that Kaiser is bad. It's just saying that Isagi is just supreme, kind of, you know? And when it comes to this, I'm not trying to be Isagi biased. I'm definitely a Rin bias when it comes to like all this stuff, right? But when it comes to this, it really comes down to what your impact is on the game, right? Like if you can score goals, what you can do, right? On the what you can do on the field. So when it comes down to this, we see Isagi defending. We also see Kaiser defending. We see Isagi scoring goals. We also see Kaiser scoring goals. We see Isagi moving upfield with, you know, Corona, Hiyori, Kunigami, Raichi, and all that stuff. We also see Kaiser moving upfield with Ness, Birkenstock, the rest of the trash can friends. So the whole thing is, it matters what you do at the end of the day. Since Isagi can both score, like Isagi can score, it doesn't matter if Kaiser can do this flashy bicycle kick. Like, yeah, that's cool. Isagi obviously can't do that. But it really matters, like, if you could score at the end of the day, right? So Kaiser scored 1 in the Ubers. Isagi scored 2. Obviously, Kaiser scored way more in Manshine and Barcha and stuff like that. But it really comes down to the impact you have on the game. So I think impact-wise, both Kaiser and Isagi are kind of, like, equal in terms of that, right? And then right now, you have Isagi on his plot armor shit, just being super overpowered, you know, telling Kaiser, you're a bitch and shit like that. So, like, I think it's all
you're
like
no
that.
Bitch.
Yeah. So I think, like, current Isagi right now, because he is overpowered, this is his peak form right now. I think he's better than Kaiser. And then, you know, it'll go through that whole development where in the U20 World Cup arc, Kaiser becomes back overpowered. Solo carry, beats out Japan and Blue Lock and Isagi. So I think, like, current Isagi right now, because of what he's done and his capabilities, they're really equal to Kaiser. And then it really comes down to the current game, right? PXG. And you could say that Kaiser is being outperformed by Isagi. He's not getting marked by Don Lorenzo the whole game. Isagi's still popping off, scoring goals and stuff. So yeah, I currently think current Isagi over current Kaiser.
You agree?
I don't. But...
Okay.
Yeah, no. Everyone has their opinion. Like, you could say no. I don't.
Cyclone sends one more saying physically Kaiser, mentally Isagi, overall right now Isagi.
Well, but mentally, right? Of course, Isagi, bro. Kaiser had a breakdown.
Everyone's siding with you, Hiryo, right now. But I'm gonna switch it up right here for you. All right?
Yeah.
The whole point of the NEL, at least from the Isagi and Kaiser rivalry, is that it's switching. It's getting turned a full 180. Because that's exactly what's happening between Barcha and PXG. The roles are just switched now. The logic of Isagi being over Kaiser is because when you look at it, Isagi has better partners than Kaiser does. Yes, Kaiser has Ness, and he is an S tier, he's an S rank. But you have Corona, you have Kunigami, you have Raichi, you have, I'll include Gagamaru, and then Yukimiya I'll say is part because he seems to be working with Isagi now. Who does Kaiser have that is on their level? Only Ness. The only person he has is Ness because every other player has been switched off. Kaiser has been able to perform as well, if not better than Isagi, with these limited teammates. He had Grim up until this match, but it was just Kaiser, Grim, and Ness versus everyone else in BLUELOCK who is siding with Isagi. Just because Kaiser is going through some kind of like withdrawal right now, does not mean it excludes every other feat that Kaiser has prior. Kaiser is the only character we've seen to have a dual kind of vision. You could say Charles, but we don't know if that dartboard kind of vision is a unique style to meta vision or if it's just some other kind of vision. But Kaiser is the only character we've seen that I can think of who has a double vision utility. He also has the fastest shot in the world. Isagi himself literally said at Manshine that Kaiser is the embodiment of everything Isagi wants to and better because of his shooting. That doesn't disregard everything that Kaiser's done up to this point. Isagi, I will say, has progressed very highly. But Rin, for example, is still above him. But I wouldn't even say that Rin is on Kaiser's level in terms of overall performance. Kaiser's going through some kind of withdrawal right now, but because he's in the same situation that Isagi was at Barcha. Isagi had nobody. All he had was Kunigami, and Isagi himself said he couldn't do anything, which is why he had to send the ball to Kunigami in order to make a difference on the pitch. That's kind of the same situation that Kaiser's in right now. We saw a literal mirror a couple chapters ago where Kaiser had to intercept a pass in order to get possession. Does that not sound exactly like what Isagi did to Ness in order to have any kind of role in the match? It's identical. The roles are just being reversed, but that doesn't exclude everything that Kaiser's done up to this point. We also saw another character go through some kind of withdrawal, Burū, and what happened to him? He came back way better. This is exactly what's going to happen to Kaiser, and it doesn't exclude everything that's happened, nor everything that is going to continue to happen. Isagi is only being able to match or surpass Kaiser because Kaiser only has one person. Would you argue that Isagi is on Kaiser's level during Manshine when he had Corona? No, because he only has the one partner.
Yeah. No, that 100% makes sense. I think, like, you're right about, like, you know, we shouldn't disregard any previous feats and stuff like that. I'm saying in general, not even disregarding other feats, I still think current Isagi and stuff is better than current Kaiser. Which, you know, maybe that's a wild take. That's why I said this whole debate is going to have, you know, the pitchforks and torches out. I think in general, Isagi, he has this whole, I think it was Ubers? Was it Ubers? Yeah. During the end of Ubers, when we got Hiyori Lock, it was the whole thing of Isagi brings people close to him, brings out their best performances, which then brings out Isagi's best performance. So it's the fact that Kaiser, you know, obviously the trash can friends like Birkenstock and Mensa and, like, you know, Eric Gresner. Like, who is that? You know, I do agree he does have, like, obviously way worse hand. Like, you know, he has the worst hands to deal with. Isagi got the royal flush, right? But Kaiser has, like, way more dog shit hand. I do agree with that. I think we can't really blame Isagi or the plot. It's more because it's Isagi's actions, right? So it all comes down to, like, accountability, right? Because Kaiser didn't do X and Y, which is what Isagi did. He did X and Y, which is, what is it called? Like, quote unquote, manipulating his teammates or bringing out their best performances, like we saw with Yukimiya, like we also saw with Corona. I think because of that, he's able to bring people towards him. And that's that whole Hiyori Lock thing. Like, people gravitate towards Isagi because he brings out their best performances. All that, yeah. And because of that, Isagi is able to have those assets available to him because he knows that he doesn't have Kaiser Impact. He doesn't have all this other stuff, right? Kaiser, because he's more egotistical, because he knows he has Kaiser Impact, because he believes he's the best and stuff like that, that he does the impossible. He beat, like, what, 10 police officers, stuff like that, right? I would have a high ego too. Kaiser is probably 6 foot. He probably has a high ego. So that whole thing of, because he's egotistical, he doesn't necessarily want to, like, manipulate or bring out other people's best performances because he relies a lot on his. I think that's just that take, right? The whole point was Isagi has other people around him, Kaiser doesn't. I think it's because of Isagi's actions and also Kaiser's actions that, you know, they both have it. So, like, their accountability at the end of the day.
I believe, of course, overall, Isagi is a more likable character in the eyes of the Blue Lockers because they have, like, come up with him and trained with him, and of course been in matches with him, they sort of know his personality and know how he's going to influence the field. It's why people favor Isagi over Kaiser, because Kaiser's just proven to be someone who wants to crush individuals by being successful himself. And of course, the way that he uses Ness, you can see the fact that he doesn't treat Ness in the greatest limelight. It's like you can see like their relationship is fucking terrible. But Kaiser individually, and I say this with like the biggest grain of salt. Individually, I believe he's only been surpassed once by Isagi, and that was when Isagi released his fucking double pistol shoot to the goal. That moment was the only win I believe Isagi's ever gotten in versus Kaiser in one-on-one. Because if you look back to the Ubers, Isagi of course had fucking Hiryo. And of course, before that, for his first goal, he was against Ness. It wasn't directly against Kaiser because Kaiser was being man-marked by Don Lorenzo. And in terms of stat-wise, Kaiser's still better than Isagi. I see, like, from here, he's got a 97 stat total. And of course, what's bad about him, in comparison to his other stats, is his defense and passing. And of course, Isagi's passing is way better. But you have to look at it from this perspective. Individually, in terms of stats and in terms of feats, I believe Kaiser will get the job done a majority of the time if he's provided that support, but he's just so fucking selfish as a person, not willing to let people's full potentials grow outside of that. It comes down to the type of person that both Isagi and Kaiser is. Isagi doesn't have as much of a ceiling thanks to the kind of person he is, but Kaiser does. And he's seeing the results of that currently. I actually do look back to when Kaiser was one-on-one-ing Chris Prince. I like to look back on that sometimes. Kaiser, of course, is worse than Chris Prince because Chris Prince is a rival with Noel Noah and Mark Snuffy. But I look to that and think, yeah, Kaiser really carried himself in that situation when Chris Prince is so much better in terms of stats because, you know, Chris Prince is like, what, 100? He's one of the other 100 characters in terms of stat total. And the fact that Kaiser was able to do so well against someone like that individually, I don't think Isagi would be able to like get the chance to do that. He'd just be overwhelmed. So yeah, that's what I think back to when, even though that was like back in Manshine City match, I still believe Isagi wouldn't be able to handle that pressure.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think stats wise, you guys are right about, you know, Kaiser being better than Isagi. I think that's no debate, right? Like Kaiser, like you said, just won against Chris Prince, the guy who, you know, might be competing for the world's strongest man. He got them 6-pack abs. But the whole point is like, rather than stats and like focusing on that, I think it really comes down to impact on the game. It really depends what you're debating, right? If we're debating solely stats, Kaiser obviously sweeps the floor with Isagi, besides maybe IQ, right? And maybe passes as well. But when it comes to like impact on the game, I think they're like really equal. And then still currently, I still think Isagi is better than Kaiser because the whole downfall and stuff. But I do agree with your guys' takes about saying, you know, Kaiser's stats definitely better than Isagi. We shouldn't disregard what Kaiser has done with Kaiser Impact and everything like that. And in a straight up 1v1 and like striker wise, you'd probably still want to choose Kaiser.
Yeah, I believe team feats goes to Isagi because he is drawing out that potential. If Isagi is given those teammates, he will obliterate Kaiser as he's currently doing. But Kaiser individually, one-on-one situation stats-wise, that's where Kaiser will take the wins.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, in terms of just overall, like, if we're comparing solely them, Kaiser has better vision, Kaiser has better shooting, Kaiser has better off-the-ball movements, better ball sense. You can argue whether them having equal game IQ, but I just
that
think
also just comes down to
experience. Yeah, experience, and the only thing Isagi really has over Kaiser, is faster development and better teammates, which you could blame on the Blue Lock project itself, helping these teammates to evolve to where they can utilize their stuff, but then also Isagi drawing out their potential. But either way, I still say Kaiser. I don't think Isagi's anywhere near New Gen 11 yet. I think Reen's closer, and I think Isagi's still below Reen. So my thought is Kaiser. I say current Kaiser.
Yeah, we could all agree to disagree. You know, that's why I said this take is gonna be, you know, this take is gonna be a hot one for sure.
I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see, of course, an actual face-off between the two. That feels like it's going to come during this match, right? Like an actual one-on-one with Isagi and Kaiser competing for the last goal instead of being interrupted by by a shit ton of people, because that's going to be the climax. Or it could lead to Kaiser finally being like, you know what, I'll work with you, home homeschool bread slice.
Yeah, no, it really depends with, Kaneshiro's cooking up. If he wants to go, the whole Isagi's #1 development, or if he wants to do Kaiser is equal to Isagi development, or if he wants to do Kaiser is better going into the World Cup. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. Exciting either way.
No, 100%.
Yeah, I say Kaiser.
I'd say Kaiser.
Right.
Kaiser because he's like 2-1 in terms of like stat total, and of course individually 1-on-1. But Isagi wins the team point.
I still think
Isagi-
Isagi over.
Okay, so
Kaiser.
2-1. All right. And that's it. I hope you guys did enjoy that edited video, and will stay tuned for live streams that I plan to host in the future. We're going to be having another hot take stream coming up very soon, so I would suggest you click the subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way you're notified of when I go live for this next hot take stream. For the question of the video, it's pretty simple. Who would you say is the better player? Michael Kaiser or Yoichi Isagi? Leave me your thoughts down below in the comment section. And like always, thank you all for watching, like and subscribe for more content just like this, and stay tuned for future live streams. See ya!
Too slow, trying to keep up with me now.